Well, hello, my fabulous friends. I hope you're doing well. So, have you seen the Carmen family murders on Netflix? What a story that is. Holy smokes. And it is technically a cold case. And I find it fascinating that they had their eye on one person and nobody else was even considered. So, I want to ask the cards, did they get that one right? So let's just do a quick little recap here. And as I'm recapping, I'm putting the energy into the cards. The Carmen family murders refers to a high-profile case involving the deaths of a wealthy real estate developer, John Chakalos, in 2013, and his daughter, Linda Carmen, in 2016, for which her son, Nathan Carmen, was the prime suspect. John Chakalos murder in 2013. John Chakalos, 87, so this is Nathan's grandfather, was found shot to death in his bed at his Windsor, Connecticut home in December 2013. Investigators quickly determined it was not a break-in for theft, but a targeted killing. Nathan Carmen was the last known person to see his grandfather alive after having dinner with him. Prosecutors later alleged that in 2022 indictment that Nathan, using a Sig Sauer 716 patrol rifle he purchased a month prior to kill Chakalos as part of a scheme to inherit his portion of a $42 million estate. Nathan was never arrested or charged with his murder due to insufficient evidence at the time, and the case remains officially unsolved. Linda Carmen disappearance. In September 2016, Nathan and his mother, Linda Carmen, set off on an overnight fishing trip on Nathan's boat, the Chickenpox. The boat sank, and Nathan was rescued 8 days later from a life raft about 100 miles south of Martha's Vineyard. Linda's body was never found, and she is presumed dead. Authorities grew suspicious of Nathan's story, particularly after he filed an $85,000 insurance claim for his lost boat. A federal judge eventually ruled that Nathan had made faulty repairs to the vessel, contributing to its sinking. Witnesses at the marina reported seeing Nathan drilling holes in the boat and removing its trim before the trip. In May 2022, a federal grand jury indicted Nathan Carmen on charges of murder on the high seas and multiple counts of fraud in connection with his mother's death. The indictment also detailed allegations that he murdered his grandfather, though he was not formally charged with that specific crime at the time. Prosecutors argued his motive was to gain control of his family's fortune. Nathan pleaded not guilty to all charges and maintained his innocence, with his defense attorneys and father suggesting that investigators were biased against him due to his autism diagnosis. Before his trial could begin, Nathan Carmen died by suicide in his jail cell in June 2023 at the age of 29. Following his death, all charges against Nathan were dismissed, and authorities closed the investigation into Linda's death. The case has been a subject of several true crime investigations. All right, so I'm going to ask the cards, was Nathan guilty, or did somebody get away with murder? You have to remember $42 million, and John had 4 daughters, and it was to be divided equally between all 4 daughters. Well, now the whole estate's divided equally between 3 daughters. So there was other. Now, if you watch the story, John was not a nice person. He was physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive to his wife and his daughters. And there's a lot of estrangement and control and whatnot. So why did they go after Nathan? Was it because they really thought he was guilty? And how come they haven't They didn't look at anybody else, which I find really bizarre. But maybe, I don't know, let's find out. So what we're going to look for is, obviously Nathan is going to be a knight. I'll look for Knight of Swords for attacking. We'll look for Knight of Cups because they were on the water. We'll also look for other images on the water. Let's just look and see. Is the devil? We can look for the Tower in reverse. Is Nathan guilty of the crimes? Well, there's the fighting and the struggle. Yes, there is lots of fighting and struggle in that family. Absolutely. Physical too. 5 of Wands in reverse is physical fighting. The Lovers in reverse. Well, his parents were divorced. 8 of Wands. 9 of Pentacles. Well, there's the money that the girls would have gotten. Ooh. 8 of Swords. Victim. There's the wealth, and there is the victim. 2 8s are here. Knight of Wands. That would be Nathan. There's Nathan because his parents are divorced. There he is. The Emperor. There's John. King of Cups. On the water. What he did was indefensible. 7 of Wands in reverse. Justice. Queen of Wands in reverse. There's his mom. Page of Wands. There's the shows. The Moon. Now, the Moon, he was also had a lot of mental issues. He was autistic, and on top of that, he had mental health issues. He had huge aggression issues. And so there's the Moon. He did have mental illness. That's certifiable. That's a fact. And it was actually his grandfather who would come and take him out of the hospital. 4 of Swords, King of Pentacles, and King of Wands. And Knight of Swords, there it is. Yeah, he did it. He did it for the money. And there's the police. The police are right. The police are right. He did do it. There it is. I told you I was looking for the Knight of Swords, the attack. And there's the King of Cups on the water, thinking he got his mother's inheritance. There he is when he got to be rescued after 7 days laying there. But it was, they say there's no way he was laying there for 7 days. Yeah, he did it. I don't even think I need to read any further. I think, though, the family was victim of this, of John, but that does not excuse why, what happened to him, especially for money. Especially for money. Yeah, the police are up. This King of Wands is the police. They're upright. They're right. They did get the right. They do. Everything is. There you go. Thanks for watching. Take good care. See you online. Bye for now.